Private E1, Sicily, July 1943. You are 19 years old. You enlisted the week after Pearl Harbor. Not because someone told you to, because you were standing in your mother's kitchen when the radio said what it said, and something inside you went very quiet and very certain at the same time. You signed the papers on a Tuesday. By Thursday, you were on a bus to Fort Benning, Georgia. And the life you had before, the gas station job, the girl from church, the dog that slept at the foot of your bed, was already becoming a photograph. Basic training is 13 weeks. Your drill sergeant does not smile. Not once. Not even when it's funny. You will understand later that this is a kindness. The men he breaks down and rebuilds are the men who survive. You wake at 4:30 in the morning. You run. You low crawl through Georgia mud holding your rifle above your head, because if it touches the ground you start over. You learn to field strip your M1 Garand in total darkness. Not because the army told you it would matter, but because your sergeant told you it would matter. And by week 4, you believe everything he says. You ship out in the spring of 1943. Your division lands in Sicily in July. Within 48 hours of stepping off the landing craft, 2 men from your company are dead. You knew their bunk numbers. You knew one of them snored. Now you say their names quietly to yourself sometimes, when no one is listening. As a private, you are the bottom of the chain. You carry what you are told to carry. You go where you are told to go. You dig your foxhole at the end of a 15-mile march when your legs have already quit, because the alternative is dying in the open. Nobody explains the big picture. The big picture is not your job. Your job is the next 50 meters. The tree line ahead. Whether the water in your canteen will last until morning. The entire American war machine. The ships, the factories, the supply lines stretching back to Detroit and Pittsburgh. All of it eventually comes down to you. 19 years old. Boots caked in Sicilian dust. Rifle in your hands. Nobody told you it would feel like this. Nobody could have. Under Private First Class E2, Italy, November 1943. The promotion didn't come with a ceremony. One stripe on your sleeve and a nod from your squad leader. Don't let it go to your head. And it didn't. Because by now nothing goes to your head except the sound of incoming artillery. Italy, November. The rain hasn't stopped in 11 days. The ground isn't ground anymore. It eats your boots and your patience in equal measure. You carry the bar now. The Browning automatic rifle. 19 pounds unloaded. With spare magazines. Close to 30 pounds of firepower on top of everything else. Your back has opinions about this that it expresses at 3 in the morning. But the bar is suppression. It is what lets the other men move. When your squad leader signals the advance, and you open up on the German position across the ridge, you are not trying to hit anything specific. You are trying to make the men behind that stone wall keep their heads down for the 11 seconds it takes your squad to cross 20 meters of open ground. 11 seconds is a very long time. You have learned things in Italy that were not in any field manual. That cold and wet together are worse than cold alone. That men talk about food, specific meals, specific restaurants, their mother's specific recipes, the way other people talk about God. That the quiet soldier from Alabama on your left, the one who never says much, is the best man to have beside you in a firefight you will ever meet in your life. You don't feel like a veteran. You feel like someone who hasn't died yet. But when the signal comes, you open up and the men move. Sometimes that's enough. Corporal E3, France, August 1944. You are 21 years old, and people call you Corporal. Some mornings that still sounds like a mistake no one has noticed yet. You are responsible for 4 men. For lives. That is where it starts. France, August 1944. Patton's Third Army is pushing east after the breakout from Normandy, faster than anyone expected. The war here feels open, mobile, almost fluid. And fluid things move in all directions, including toward you. You move through a village outside Le Mans. The street is quiet in the way streets are quiet when they are not safe. You put Kowalski on the left, Hernandez on the right. Keep your fastest runner close. You don't know what's in the house at the end of the street. You know you have to clear it. You make the call. A corporal must see what his sergeant sees, anticipate it, and act before being told. You have internalized this not from a manual, but from 3 moments in 8 months where the half second you saved by not waiting was the half second that kept everyone breathing. At night, when the position is secure, you move quietly through your men, making sure everyone is there, not running a fever, not sitting with something eating at them they won't say out loud. Your old squad leader used to do this for your team. You watched him every time. Now you do it for yours. For men. The entire war for you is for men. Keep them moving. Keep them sharp. Bring them home. That's the whole job. Sergeant E5, Belgium, December 1944. You run a squad. 12 men officially. In practice, 9. The other 3 are somewhere between a replacement depot in England and a grave in Normandy. The army will send more when it gets around to it. You work with what you have. You have always worked with what you have. Belgium. December. The Germans have come through the Ardennes in a counteroffensive nobody predicted. The weather has grounded every Allied aircraft. For the first time since the breakout, the momentum has reversed, and you are moving backward. Your men have no winter gear. The supply chain assumed this war would be over by Christmas. They are wearing 2 pairs of wool socks and thinking about their feet, because frostbite is not a dramatic death, but it is a real one. The Germans come at 2:30 in the morning. Infantry and 2 half-tracks and more noise than you have ever heard in a quiet Belgian forest. The machine gun jams. The oil has thickened to paste in the cold. Your gunner clears it in 17 seconds, by feel alone, in total darkness, because his hands know it without his eyes. The half-track stop. The infantry pulls back. The crossroads holds. Nobody from regiment hears about this. No award gets written. There is just the crossroads, still yours, and 9 men who are cold and exhausted and alive. You are not a hero in any story anyone will tell. You are the reason the story has an ending at all. Staff Sergeant E6, Iwo Jima, February 1945. A staff sergeant manages violence at scale. You are the connective tissue between what officers decide and what sergeants execute. You translate intent into action. You close the gap between the plan and the ground, because in that gap is where men die unnecessarily. Iwo Jima, February 1945. Your artillery section is in direct support of the marine assault towards Suribachi. The volcanic ash doesn't hold a foxhole. You dig, and the walls slide back. The island smells like sulfur, as if the earth itself is hostile. Forward observers are calling in adjustments. You translate those calls into firing data. You check the math. Then you check it again. At these ranges, the margin between supporting your men and killing them is measured in meters. You always check twice. The sergeant lives in the present. This road, this building, this moment. The staff sergeant has to live 20 minutes ahead. What is the next problem? What does the sergeant in the next section need before he knows he needs it? You are always running that calculation. Even when you're eating. Even when you're staring at a fire mission worksheet at 2 a.m. with eyes that stopped focusing an hour ago. At 4:30 in the afternoon, the Marines take Suribachi. A flag goes up. You let yourself feel something about it for about 45 seconds. Then the next fire mission comes in, and you get back to work. 2nd Lieutenant 01, Northern France, October 1944. Officer Candidate School is 90 days. 90 days to turn a capable man into someone the Army trusts with 40 lives. Whether that is enough time is a question you cannot answer until you are already in the field. Your platoon sergeant has been doing this since 1938. He stands slightly behind you and to the left during every patrol brief. When you finish, he says quietly, "Sir, you might want to reconsider the approach on the left flank." He is always right. Gradually, you start seeing what he sees before he has to say it. That is the whole education. The slow closing of the gap between what you notice and what he already knew. Your mission sees a farm complex being used as a German observation post. Straightforward. One complication, the intelligence is 3 days old in a mobile war. Ancient history. The complex has 12 Germans in it, not 4. There is a machine gun in the barn that no report ever mentioned. Your reserve squad is the reason this doesn't become a disaster. You committed them at exactly the right moment. Not because you were brilliant, but because your sergeant had once said, always hold something back. The moment you think you don't need a reserve is the moment you need one most. You take the complex. You lose 1 man, 20 years old, from El Paso. You write his family a letter that night. You will write 7 more before this war ends. None of them will say what you want to say, because what you want to say cannot be put in a letter. Captain O3, Germany, March 1945. You command a company. 193 men on paper. 151 in the field. You know every name. Not just the name, but the hometown, the family situation, which men go quiet before a fight, and which get loud, which ones you can push, and which are already at their limit. This is what command actually means. Not rank. Not authority. The weight of 151 human beings whose lives run through your decisions the way current runs through wire. Germany, March 1945. Your battalion is crossing the Rhine. The bridge at Remagen was seized intact 2 weeks ago, and your regiment is pushing east into the German heartland. The enemy is falling back, but falling back is not the same as broken. A desperate army fighting on its own soil is capable of things a confident one is not. Orders from battalion. Seize the town of Kirchberg by nightfall. What battalion doesn't know is that SS troops are holding it. SS units don't follow the same logic when it comes to surrender. You give the mortars priority. You hold the tank destroyers back until the infantry fixes the SS positions, then bring them forward for direct fire. Through in 90 minutes. A captain is where the army stops. Nobody above you in the chain fully understands this. That's fine. You signed up to carry it. You carry it. Colonel 06, Philippines, January 1945. You command a regiment. 3,500 men. You have not spoken to most of them. Your regiment is a force now, not a collection of individuals. Making peace with that transition is the central challenge of command at this level. Luzon, January 1945. Your regiment landed at Lingayen Gulf and has been pushing south toward Manila. The terrain shifts constantly, rice paddies, jungle, river crossings. The Japanese defense is neither uniform nor predictable, which is the most dangerous kind. You are coordinating 3 infantry battalions across a 12-kilometer front, synchronizing with the regiment on your left, managing artillery, air support, engineers, and a supply chain that cannot keep pace with the ground. One of your battalion commanders pushes too fast and exposes his flank. You radio him. Voice level. No emotion on the radio, ever. The correction is given. The flank closes. Nobody outside your staff knows that gap existed for 40 minutes. Exactly how it should be. A colonel is the last rank where you are still close enough to the ground to smell it. Above you is the world of maps and decisions measured in divisions rather than squads. You are not there yet. You are here, in the Luzon heat, with a 12-kilometer front to hold. You hold it. Major General, Alsace, France, winter 1944. You do not carry a rifle. You haven't in years. This does not mean you are far from the war. It means the war has grown large enough to require someone standing back far enough to see all of it at once. Your division has been in combat since North Africa in 1942, through Tunisia, Sicily, Italy, southern France, and now driving northeast through Alsace toward the German border. Your men are not fresh. They are experienced. And the difference matters. Your decisions are not tactical. They are operational. You are not choosing which squad goes through which door. You are deciding where to concentrate strength, where to accept risk, where to press on the seam between enemy units, and acting on what you see before the enemy understands what you've found. The human cost reaches you differently now. As a captain, you knew the name of every man who died. As a major general, you know the numbers. Which battalions are at 60% strength, which are at 85. You work to keep those numbers as low as the mission allows, not as sentiment, but because a division that bleeds itself out wins the battle and loses the campaign. There is a private somewhere on your western front lying in a frozen foxhole outside a village in Alsace, watching the tree line. He is 19. He is cold. He has no idea what the operational picture looks like. He only knows the tree line in front of him. Everything you do, every order, every map trace, every call to corps, flows down through the chain of command and arrives at his foxhole as 2 words. You are supported. He will never know your name. That's fine. That's exactly how it should work. The war ended in May 1945 in Europe. September 1945 in the Pacific. The men came home. Most of them. The ones who didn't became names on walls and stones in fields that their families visit for the rest of their lives. And the ones who did come home didn't talk about it much. Not at first. Not for years. And when they finally did, they didn't talk about theaters or turning points or operational objectives. They talked about the men beside them. The quiet one from Alabama who never said much and was the best man to have on your left. The gunner who cleared a jammed machine gun at -12 degrees by feel alone in total darkness. The sergeant who always stood slightly behind you and to the left and was always right. That is what this war was. Not the maps. The men. Every rank. Every cold morning. Every impossible decision. It was always, underneath everything, about the men. And they held. If this hit different, subscribe. We upload every single day.